Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Frozen.
Eli, fix your collar.
Oh, okay, hold on. Can we do it over? Look, it's frozen.
Close it up.
Shkoya.
Thank you.
Rabbi Sai, great news. Shalom Aleichem, guest. What's your name? Mordy Moskowitz. Shalom Aleichem. From? Brooklyn. Great news for the Olam. Once in a while we do this. There will be no emails today because of a tremendous chiddush that happened. Started all yesterday. And we don't have Zoom at all. So you start up Zoom. We got to get because we want to talk to Avi over here for a second. So yesterday, it was literally a minute or two before Shir, I got this email from Mark Ashkenazi. He said he's doing 68 daf, zchus, Avi Mandelbaum. Avraham, Mנשה ben Chana Bracha. So I said maybe we should do 1,000 daf in a zchus. And people in the shir start saying 30, 10, 15. Rabbi Sai, here's the announcement. I said whoever gives dapim, I will mention his name. You know how many people signed up for this? Over 160 people signed up. And you know how many daf we have? More daf than the entire Shas. 2,889 daf as we're talking right now.
And you should know there are people who signed up but they didn't actually fill out the thing.
There are people, right. I got some messages. I'm in for 10 daf, 20 daf. They don't have Google Sheets. Like Nachman Seltzer, V'chaveiro, Kitzer. 300 daf from Nachman Seltzer. Yishkoyach, thank you. We appreciate it. Anyways, let me read off these names because it will take a good few minutes here. Somebody went in there. It's a Google Doc. It's open to the public. Somebody went in and decided to change things around. And now it goes from the most to it was in order of people putting in. So he knocked me down 10 spots because I was the first one to sign up. Very upset at that individual. Do not touch documents that don't belong to you. But here it goes. It goes from highest to lowest. 150 daf. Yedidya Kramer, the Rosh Koilo. Michael Ben Chetri. Then I said I want to get some Hasidim involved because we're talking about the Tilumi person that has a ring on his finger. There is no such thing in MDY. We're all one mishpacha and people, the biggest misnagdim and then the biggest Hasidim, they all went in l'zchusai. Michael Ben Chetrit, who's sitting right here, 104 daf. Eliakim Aronoff, 101. Yossi Dahari, 88. Eli Goldberg, 82. Mark Ashkenazi, who started it all, 68. Eli Stefansky, 67. Shui Osborne, 67. This is not going to go so well. Mike Greenwald, 68. Yossi Klein, your Hasidic brother, he says, 45. Ashi Itzkowitz, 45. Shulam Goldstein, 40. I'm reading off my screen because I didn't realize I don't have my glasses. Actually, I do, but I'm not going to put them on here. No way. Eli Hefter, 35. Chemi Jacob, 34. Avigdor Fold, 34. Zvi Shear, 32. Moshe Steinberg, 30. Mattis from Manchester, 31. And his son said, I'm Hasidish and I'm doing this for Avi. 15 daf. Mendy Auerbach, 30 daf. Yishkoyach Mendy. Joe Sharp, 30. Dave Sharfman, 22. Gideon Jaffe, 27. Shalom Felder, 25. Akiva Ziegler, 25. Let me read from here. It's crazy. Pause. We're pausing. Here we go. David Gladstone, 20. Pesach Waxman, Red Pesach Waxman, 20. Phil Rosenblatt, Phil, 15. Yaakov Garfinkel, 15. Here we go. Barry Sklan, 15. Jamie Steinermeyer, 15. Noam Fix, 15. Oh, these are all the 15s, guys. From now on, 15. Avi Kamiansky, 15. Hill Kamiansky, Tom Eisman, Tomer Levy, Moshe Dax, Asher Juravel, Shimon Graus, Menachem Mendel Fenster, the Belzer Chassid, Peretz Chaim Levine, Mo Landy, all 15. Moshe Zak, 15. This is going to take forever. Baruch Hashem. Gabe Feiler, Yosef Ben Zev, Dovi Klein, Robert Early, Shayas Yaroslavitz, Usher Taub, Benny Maslin, Eliezer Langer, Levi Friedman, Rafal Jason Echt, Avi Sherman. Okay, now we're 13. Avraham Nussbaum, Ben Goldman, but it's going to go back because something got messed up there. Ben Goldman, Leiby David from the Koilel, Shui Haber, Dan Rubinoff, Here's Jacobson, Matti Grunberg, Marty Dauber, Mordechai Zapazik, Sruli Frischman, Amishab Wrestler, David Samet, Clifton Yid, Yiddi Schlesinger, sounds Hasidish to me, Ari Burns, Jeff Rosner, Steven Sokolov from South Bend, Moshe Stam, Asher Krohn, Yisrael Shalitsky from Borough Park, Jeremy Cohen, A.B. Leifman, Yosef Mevorach, still on with the program, Jordan Schiller, Dov Harris from London. Dov, hi. Moshe Kraus, Shlomi Leitner, Yosef Rabinowitz, Yisrael Moshe Weinrib, Eddie Treisman, Moshe Engel, Yaakov Zaret, Shkoyach Yaakov, Yaakov Laska, Donnie Walker. Do I have to say all the names? Yes. Joel Mizrahi, Bob Libman, Chaim Friend, Hillel Bernstein, Philip Dreilich, Mark Duke, Joseph Cohen, Yoel Bergman from Chicago, Richard Price, Gabriel E., Zach Burke. By the way, if you sign up today, I'll still read your names tomorrow. We're already at 2,900 right now as we speak. Adam Labato, Yisrael Goldstein, Mendel Lerner, Justin Ivry, who made a chasana 2 days ago, Yaakov Shama's 30 daf, Yoni Rennert, Yair Ziffer, Simcha Hershkovitz, Yair Ziffer's 30 daf, Yechiel Davis, Craig Gutman, now it's not in order anymore, Shlomi Klein, Yeshai Strau, Shruli Bernstein, not Bornstein, Bernstein, Yitzchak Weber, Charlie Field, Tzvi Fallenbaum, A.B. Joseph, he's a young kid, 12-year-old from Chicago, I believe, Shkolim, 2 daf in Shkolim, Yossi Sif, Eli Dykman, 36 daf. Yesterday when it went like this, it must have been like one of those. Zalman Kreiman, Avram Meir Farkovitz, Moshe Kinsbursky, the famous Moshe Kinsbursky, Idan Moskowitz, 40 daf. Jay Nathanson, Avi Berger, Shai Moskowitz, Yossi Klein, another person maybe, Sukkah, 10 daf. And here's the last part of the list. David Reich, Shmuley Katz, Eliyahu Nyman, Nachman Seltzer, 400 daf, Stephen Bernstein, Leger Micha, Amram Ilmala, Ben Schwartz, Yehuda Bromberg, Yisrael Meir Cohen, 30 daf. Moshe Zaret, we already said. Moshe Greenspan, Yaakov, we tried to get in there twice. I chapped.
That was my son before Yaakov Zaret.
Oh, that was Yaakov Zaret. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Reb Moshe Zaret. Let me tell you a mice about Reb Moshe Zaret. When I said over the mice about Reb Akiva, and when I was 40 years old, it gave me some Hiruri Tshuva. He came over to me after Shir, and he started crying. Mamish, tears in his eyes. And he said, when I was 40 years old, I learned the story, and I said, if Reb Akiva could do it, I could do it, and it changed my life. I started learning Torah then, and because of that, he told me, all his kids are B'nai Torah and Magidishurim, etc., right? My son, he's crying right now. I don't want to embarrass him. But it's a chizik for everybody. Moshe Greenspan, Yaakov Herber, 31 daf. David Scheinberg, David Brandis, Dovi Fink, Shmuel Kogus, Yehuda Axelrod. Yuri Axelrod. David Dimbert from Chicago. Gedalia Miller, Elio Neuberger, Rob Arnold, Moshe Braun, David Kramer, Martin Lifshitz, and Yankee Baum. Yishkoyach to everybody. When I spoke to Avi yesterday, he was, I didn't speak to him. He left me a message. Maybe I should play it, maybe I shouldn't. He was mamish in tears. He was choked up. And that was less than 2. What? He said to play it? He said I could play it. Okay, I don't know until I get it. It's 7:30. Yeah, you know what? We'll do it a different time. Okay. You know what, Avi? Send me another one where you're really choked up, and I'll play that one. Zok Tehillah Gemara. We are holding Daf Samach Zayin Amud Beis Yishkoyach. Everybody, unbelievable. Mamish a big chizik. It's a chizik for everybody. First of all, we're doing a great thing for Avi, but we're doing something for ourselves, for our neshamas, for Rosh Hashanah. We're coming in with extra dapim, so you can still sign up. It's not too late. Extra chazar didn't hurt anybody. And it's a show of Achdus She'en Kamayu. It's people from all stripes and colors going in for one of us. Okay, and it doesn't mean that there's other people that are chaylim and this and that. It's somebody that's on Zoom every single day for 2 years straight. Everybody knows him. He's always on the top row. So it touched people a little bit differently. It doesn't mean that we're putting other people on the side. Okay, Zakti Gemara. Oh, I have to go into this thing now. Okay, there is our sponsors today. All right, a 25-minute cheer, Rabbi Isai. Oh, I don't have it. Where is it? Here we go. You saw my video? Go down to 8. It's 8-minute down. The Koilel is sponsored with the success of our family and that we merit to always crown Hashem. The Masechta for my children. This is perfect timing. Avi and Rachel Kamiansky are out, so made it a little shorter. The second Masechta sponsor, Jeff Rosner, zchus of my son, Yosef Simcha, Chaim, Ben Torah, Chana, Refuah Shlaima, a very young kid, comes home from camp with a very, very shver matzah. Rest of Masechta, Ofishel Mitzva Motivators, Avraham Mנשה ben Chana, Brokha, Refuah Shlaima, Amen. Zcharya ben Moshe, the MDY Family, Ezra Yaakov ben Yitzchak, Ezra Pollak. And the third sponsor by the Lock and Lebovic family is Lakewood NJ because Torah is best gula. Parasha number 4, Refuah Shlaima for Yecheskel ben Leah. That's a new one, Yosef. Yecheskel ben Leah. And the Parnas Hayom, one Parnas Hayom only. Woody Weinman in honor of Chewy's baby girl, Mordy Moskowitz's baby girl. Okay, where are we holding? I have no idea. Somewhere. Yeah, we got to move this. Oh, he mutzes. That's where we are. Yeah. We had it yesterday. We had a whole thing. Okay, Marukva. Great story. 2, 4, 6, 8 lines from the bottom. Marukva. Have anya b'shivavusei. There was a poor person. We're talking about Marukva and his midas had tzedakah. There was an ani in his neighborhood. From his own money, he would give him 400 zuz every Erev Yom Kippur. He made the mistake. He sent it with his son. He's busy. Also, so the son comes back with the money. He's in no need. He had a Yeshua this year. He became very wealthy. What happened? I saw him taking aged wine. He's so wealthy. He took Castell, sprayed it around his house. Instead of drinking it, he's going like this to make the house smell better. So Ezra, he's very wealthy. Omar, he's so poor, yet he's such an istanis. He's a mafunik. He doubled it up. Now it's 800 zuz, and he sent more money. When Marukva was on his deathbed, he said, I want to see how much money I gave throughout my life. 7,000, kitzer, millions of dollars, $10 million he gave to tzedakah, $100 million. Omar, so he says about himself, I have very light suitcases. I'm only bringing $100 million worth of tzedakah that I gave. Terrible. The trip is a very, very long trip. It's not enough money to go on such a trip. I don't have enough zchusim, says Marukva. So he took half of all his belongings and he gave it immediately to tzedakah. Asked the Gemara, but how could he do so? You're not allowed to spend more than 20% on your mitzvahs. Now, the Chaim, as we mentioned, I don't know, a few weeks ago, that when it comes to Limud Torah, supporting Torah, you could give more than a chaimish, of course. There's different things. So, of course, you go to MDYsponsor.com and support Torah right before Chana, chappen the zchusim. Nachman Seltzer, $7,000 and 7,000 daf. No, Mazel tov, by the way. Still Servos, no? Last one is today. Doyle was invited. What's the address? Zok the Gemara. That's what we're going to do. You know what? When you weren't here, it was a little shvach. I'm happy you're here. You put me on my spot. I need it. Yes. Oh, says the Gemara. If a guy's alive, we're concerned he's not going to have any money left and it's going to be a problem. Then he's going to come out to tzedakah. He's doing this on his deathbed. It's for la'achemisa. We don't care. Now, we once learned the best way to give tzedakah is if you don't know who the poor person is, and they don't know who you are. Like here in Mabit Shemesh, we have the Ofishel Tzedakah, which they don't take a cut at all. You give them the money, you don't know who it's going to, and the person receiving it has no idea who's getting it, who got it from. Rebbe Abba, there's another way to do it. You take the money, you put it on your shoulder, you put it behind him. He sees the poor people, goes next to them, and they grab from the bag. Now he doesn't know who they are, but they do know who he is, so it's a very high madrega, but not the top madrega. But he would speak to make sure that the cheaters, the con artists, they're not there. In other words, he would at least pretend. Some say he's pretending. He's chased them away. Shoot them away. Rabbi Chanina had a ani. He would give 4 zuzim a week. He sent his wife. Not the greatest idea. She comes back with the money. He doesn't need it anymore. My chazis, what do you see? I overheard them saying, what are we going to put on the table? Bitali kesev or bitali zav? Should we put the gold tablecloth on or the silver? Now, over here, we're not even talking about, now we're talking about just complete ashirus. We're not talking about food, we're not talking about mifunuk, not mifunuk. We're talking about a guy that doesn't, you don't need to have a golden tablecloth. Omar Hainu Omar Rebbe Lazar. Bayu v'nachzik toivel ramoim. Let's give thanks to these cheaters. We have a chiyuv. If an ani comes to you in the middle of Pesukah de Zimra, middle of davening, it doesn't matter. If he comes to you and asks you for money, you have to give him l'chayra. You have to give. You have to give at least a pruta. So what's our heter not to give? Because of this. If he asks you for money, you don't give him, you're sinning. If you just turn away, say, you have no right coming to me now, I'm busy. You have to be careful. It might be like over the avodas kachavim, like avodah zara. Belial is a lashon of belial without a yoke. Okay, but now that we have cheaters, so now the guy loses his chazaka. I don't know if he's the real deal. Maybe he's faking. Maybe he's a multimillionaire. There's actually a guy that comes to shul. Everybody loves him, and I like him a lot, and I actually give him. But he tells me straight out, he has a brand new car, and he has a job. He said, I have chayvus. He comes, no problem. But he's open about it. Great. But there's a lot of cheaters out there. So those cheaters, they save us. It's geschmack, he says. Oh, it's good that these cheat. Oh, Baruch Hashem, he's a cheater. Because now the other times they didn't give tzedakah, because Baruch is not going to be down me. Famous Maisa with, I think, the Satmar Rav. Big, in Satmar, tzedakah is like the top thing. I think you go into the Beis Medrash there, everybody gives you $1. That's how it goes. So if you walk into the Beis Medrash in Shachris, you come out with $300 or something. Every single person has to give you. No matter how many. There's like lines of, they're very huge into tzedakah. So, I'll get now tomorrow, something right. No, it's 400 or 500. It could be. It's mamish, hundreds of people. You come in, you come out. So the Satmar Rav once gave somebody, the guy came in, he says, my wife is this, and it just reminds me of another Maisa. A guy came through the shul, he goes, my wife is an almana, and my kids are Yisoimim, and I'm a ger, and I'm also the Einikel of the Baal Shem Tov, and the whole guy. Fine. So he comes to the Satmar Rav, he says, my wife, machla, and terrible, and I lost 6 kids, the whole zach. So the Satmar Rav gave him a lot of money. And as he goes out, the guy comes over to the Satmar Rav and says, the guy, mamish a liar. He's nothing. His wife is healthy. He goes, wow, Baruch Hashem, unbelievable. I was so sad for this guy. Baruch Hashem, he doesn't have any sick kids and everybody's givaldic. Okay. So that's what it says over here. Baruch Hashem, he's a liar. He saved my life, this guy. Torah Rabbana. Hamasama is saying, a person, he pretends, he puts on one of those eye patches, like a pirate. Oh, it reminds me of another Maisa, because we have a lot of time. No, but you gotta say this Maisa. There's 2 pirates. The pirate says, wow, what happened to you? He says, oh, don't ask. I was on the boat and a shark came, grabbed my leg. He said, I have a peg now. He said, no, what happened to your hand? The hand. I was fighting with another pirate and he chopped it off with a sword. So that's why I have a hook. Yeah, that's why I have it. So what happened to your eye? He said, I was walking the beach and a bunch of sand got in my eye. Sand? I can understand the shark, I understand the sword. But sand? He says, yeah, it was my first day with the hook. Okay. But Hamasameinoi Vamatzbez Bitnoi. He pretends that he has a big stomach. You see this in Chicago on every corner. Rabbi said, these stories, every corner. He goes at the patch, he goes at this. What happened over here? Rabbi said, this I have a video of. Check this out. Let me set this up. Here's a guy on the street on a board with wheels. Kipasha doesn't have legs. So he's collecting money. Comes a guy and says, you're a liar. I'm in Chicago. This is not in Chicago. Here, check this out. He's checking out if he has legs, not legs. Okay, Rabbi say that's literally the sugya. Hamekapeach eshoika. He pretends he doesn't have legs and he collects money. Mamish this. Oh no, they make. There's a guy in Chicago. He's mamish. He's a millionaire. He sits there. He's already for the last 30 years. He's ever since I moved. He's on the same corner. You know what I'm talking about? The same guy. And he has different pants. You see him go to the side. He puts on nice pants. He gets in the car and drives. It's crazy. These guys are mamish shakranim. Anyway, and in iftim in ha'olam at sheyavali dekach. You fake it till you make it. So you pretend you don't have feet. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help you out. You can't have feet in order to make your parnasa. I'll make sure you don't have feet. Shlomi Klein told me that the Baal Tanya says that in Ruchnis also, you fake it till you make it. If you fake it, that you're tzaddik, that you're chassid, and you this, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help you. If that's what you want, that's be'emes what you want, then you'll make it. And if the Menayim at Shiyah Likach, HaMekabel Tzedakah Vein Tzorch Likach, Soifai, Einoi Nifter Menayim at Shiyah Likach. If a person doesn't need tzedakah and he walks around collecting money, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make sure that that's in fact what's going to happen to him. Not awesome. So we have to understand this hatzlacha. In order to accept tzedakah, you have to have less than 200 zuz in your bank account. So what if a guy has 190 in his bank account, but he has a piano, he has all sorts of things he could sell, and that will go above the threshold? No, he doesn't have to sell anything. As the Gemara, he's at 190, but he has a golden becher. So sell it and start using silver. Go down in madrega. I force you to sell your bed. Sleep on the floor and a table. Cars. Or you'll buy a cheaper, you don't need a Sealy, whatever, you'll get the other one. Cars. But I don't force you to sell your cups and your plates. Why not? The Omer Misili, if you ever drink, even today, silver is usually coated with something else inside. It's disgusting to drink from silver. You want to drink from gold, so you can say, I don't want to. I don't like this company. I like the whatever. This is interesting. If that's how you garnish it, he has a silver plow. In other words, a decked out tractor, like the top of the line. You don't need it to plow your field. You can go even lower than that. So sell that. So Rashi explains very interesting. When he took from tzedakah, when he wasn't supposed to, he had 300 in his bank account. He had no right to go to tzedakah, and he took it. Then we're gonna come and we're gonna grab from him. We're gonna sell off his stuff. He has to pay back. He's a ganav. Okay, so if you look at this pasuk right over here, the official Mishnah is sponsored by Moshe Cohen, zchus for limud Torah and continue hatzlacha and parnasa. So the pasuk as we had, when was it? Like 2 weeks ago, maybe less. It says in the pasuk, if you don't remember this pasuk, you should do chazara l'zchus avi. But anyway, it says in the pasuk, so the Gemara over there says, I'll remind you, how does the father have the power to give off his daughter to a man? How is he going to find a man? It's usually the man looks for the girl. The shidduch is the opposite. He can't go in the street and say, who wants my daughter? So you see from here that the father does have power in a way. By giving his daughter a nedunya, a dowry, he gives her some money. So you see from the pasuk there's a concept, not mechuyev, I'm not going to force the father, but it's very common. It's common practice that when he marries off his daughter, he gives her something. Says the Mishnah, she's a ketana, and she lost her father and her mother or brothers, they marry her off, and she agreed to it. Because of they gave her a garbage dowry, not the real value. They gave her, $50. Here, take $50, get married. Now she's only 10 years old. She doesn't know. She could go back, says Rashi, what's a dowry? So we're going to see in the Gemara, there's two options. Either it's 10% of all the father's assets, that's normal, or we figure out how much the father would have wanted to give this daughter. But it's not chamishim. It's not, sometimes it's less than chamishim if the guy has nothing. But we're talking about a guy that's, he worked his whole life, he has something in the bank account. He's not going to give his daughter chamishim. That's too little. So it's either 10%, or we're going to figure it out. We're going to do a umdana, we're going to assess the situation. Says the Mishnah. Says Yehuda, I have a great way to figure this out. Let's see what he did with his first daughter. Right, Nachman? Whatever you gave your first daughter, you're probably going to give the second daughter. It's a great indicator. So we're going to see in the Gemara, it doesn't really mean that he becomes poor. A rich person became poor, which is true also. What the Mishnah is saying is, he became poor in his mind. He became stingy. People over time, sometimes they relax. When they're younger, they save money, they're very tight, and then later on, what am I saving all this money for? Let me give it to my children. So just because for his first daughter, a lot of times also you see, this is very common. Somebody saves up money, he's in koil, he's saving, I'm going to marry off 20 kids, saves. Comes the first kid, all of it on the first kid. He forgets to save a little bit for the second. That also happens. Elo, that's right, whatever it is, but it all goes to the first, and the second kid has zero. Elo, shavim and chasim noisin la. No. So what you do is, according to Rabbi Yehuda, let's take account here what's there, and based on that, we're going to give the girl. Omar Shmuel, le parnasa. So it's interesting, l'shaynas here, but don't get scared. Parnasa just means nedunya. It means a dowry. Parnasa. The word parnasa, we know it as parnasa, support. No, it means a dowry. What you give your daughter when she gets married. Le parnasa shamim ba'av. We take a look at the father. Is he a stingy guy or he's a large guy? Large meaning he gives. That's what shamim be'av, not shamim the nechasim of the father. His personality, what is he? I found this very hard to understand, just the whole concept. I mean, if any one of us, take your best friend, think about your best friend. Could you figure out how much you'd give his daughter? I'm not even close. I have no idea. I'll take any one of my friends here. I don't know, $10,000, $100,000. I have no clue. For the bezin to figure that out, it's to me, it's unbelievable. I don't know how they do it. Okay, meisvei habonos nizonos mispanos v'nichzei aviem. Huh? He's dead. He's gone. He's done.
Look at the average of what people normally give certain amounts of money.
No, so how do we do it today? Do it today. Go.
I know what you spent on your daughter's chasana.
What I spent on her chasana?
You're a guy in a certain bracket, so you spend certain money.
You have no clue. I told you how much I spent. I forgot to tell you how much my wife spent. Ketzad, eino imrim ilo avio kayom. I told you? I'm a sugar?
You tell me a lot of things, and then you...
Ketzad, just don't put it in the book. Ketzad, eino imrim ilo avio kayom, kach v'kach hayin lo. So, if the father was around, so you give her 10% of whatever he has. My love, but it says over here 10%, and not what? And not, like Shmuel says, to see if he's a kamtzin, not a kamtzin. I know how much Stefansky gave, I know this guy's this bracket. No, that's not how it goes. You take the total amount and 10%, it says over here. So it's a kasha. We're not talking about a nedunya, a dowry, we're talking about parnos atzma, mezainas. Ha nizoinus and misparnus is ktani, but it says both. It says nizoinus, that would be mizoinus, and misparnus is like we started off the sukkah. Parnasa means in the dunya. My lav, achas parnasa sabal, achas parnasa atzma. Isn't one talking about the dowry, and the other one is talking about the mizoinus? Lo, yidi v'yidi parnasa atzma. We're talking about mizoinus. V'loi kashya. Ha b'achilo b'shtiya. Nizoinus, right? Mizoinus means literally food that goes into the mouth. Ha b'levusha v'chisuya. The parnasa is another lashon talking about clothing. Tanan. V'chacham moimrim pa'amim sha'adam ani v'heshir oy esh asher v'heni. He became wealthy or became poor. Elo shamim anachasim v'noisnim la. My ani or my asher. What does it mean? Literally, like we call a poor person who doesn't have assets. Oh, he has a lot of assets. So what the Tanakama argues, and he says, if he was very wealthy and he became poor, what he has to give, the $1 million he gave his first kid, halesle, he doesn't have it. How could they argue on a fact? Elav, ani bedas. It means that he became stingy. Asher bedas, he became large. It says over here you give 10%. You don't go by how stingy he is. You don't go like Shmuel, like by the father, what he is, what type of person he is. With the youth of the Shmuel, in fact, there's a good kash on Shmuel. Says Gemara, no, Shmuel is going to say like Das Yachid, like Rabbi Yehuda. Disnan. If he married off his first daughter, he should give the second daughter. We should give the second daughter like he gave the first daughter. Says Gemara, if that's the case, if Shmuel, all he's doing is, he's copy-pasting. He took a shita of Rabbi Yehuda, of a Tana, and he says, so he should say, that Allah is like Rabbi Yehuda. Why is he pretending that he's making up his own shita? Says Gemara, if he would say, that Allah is like Rabbi Yehuda, I would think it's only in a case where he married off a girl before. The Galadaite, now we know what bracket he's in. But if he never married off a daughter, we can't start assuming things. We go and we try to figure out what he would have given, how large he was. Look how much duck he gave. He married off a few Simon over here. He did this. So for his own daughter, certainly he would give X amount of money, and that's what we do. Not a 10% thing. Not a 10% across the board, no matter what. We do umdana. So then why does it say a story about that he married off a daughter? Like the first daughter, and based on that we do the second daughter. To teach us how they argue on him. Even though he married off one daughter and he gave her $1 million, and he showed us what he likes to give his kid. We don't go by that. End of story. Maybe, why? Because maybe his personality changed. I don't know what the matzav is today. Maybe he realized that he has to save money. It's not a good idea to make such big chasanas, whatever it is. Omalei Rava, the Rav Chizda. The Shinim Mishmach. Yeah? You want to talk about my daughter's chasana, my son's chasana, it cost a quarter of my daughter's chasana. But that's because he's a boy. And whatever. What? I'm saying, I'm just saying things change. You have to bring a right from daughter to daughter. That's what, okay. Fine. Omalei Rava, the Rav Chizda. The Shinim Mishmach, they say your name, hatzlacha Rabbi Yehuda. What? I didn't want to say the Barabin, but it's true. Yeah, of course. I'm not worried because she's the only one that watches. My son doesn't watch. Halach Rabbi Yehuda. So they say in the name of you, Rava, that you passing like Rabbi Yehuda. You do umdana. Omalei Rava, Halavai, Kol Kahana Milim Al Yasa. All these beautiful statements. Tidrushu Mishma. You say it in my name. As the Gemara, Mi Omar Rava Hachi, that he doesn't even hold like that. So Tanya Rebbe Omer, Basan Izonis Menachem. No, tell us Isur Nechasim. The Nedunya is a 10% cut. Vomarava, Hilchasik Rebbe. You don't go by umdana. You don't go by each person in person. It's 10% across the board. Loy kasha. Ha damidne. We see if he's a stingy guy or not. Ha delayamidne. We weren't able to see. We don't know his personality. He's from a different country. I don't know what. So in Mela, we go. If we don't know, then we just do a 10% cut. Once Rebbe went ahead and gave 1/12, which is about 8%. It's not 10%, and it's not a umdana. What's 8? Where did 8 come in here? So we have a contradiction in Rebbe himself. Rebbe says 10%, and also 8%. When we assessed the guy and we saw that he's a very stingy guy, so we said, okay, let's give the girl only 8%. But typically we give 10%. If she still gets support from the brothers, she gets 10%. So he asked the question, he has 11 children. 10 of them are daughters. So he dies with $1 million in the bank. You give 10% to the first daughter, now you have 900,000. 10% to the second daughter, 800. So you give 100,000 to 10 girls, the son gets 0. Big problem. Rishonim tells us in the Chasim. Shnia b'mashashira, ushlishish b'mashashira, v'chayzrois v'chalkas b'shava. Here's the chart, Rabbi. It's a very simple thing. No need for a chart, but stam, why not? So over here in the chart we have 100 apples. So the first girl gets 10%, she gets 10. Now what do we have left? We have 90 apples. So the red line represents what she gets. She only gets 9 because 9 is 10% of 90. But once you take off the 9, now we're left with 81. The guy's dead, he's not earning any more money. So now you only have 81 and you take 10% of 81, which is 8.1. And you keep on going down to the last daughter. There's only 35 apples left. No, after we're done with her, there's 39 apples and she gets 3.9 apples. Number 10 gets 3.9 apples. So how many apples do you take off the whole pile? 65 apples. So now you're left with 35 apples. So the boy gets 35 apples. But here's what the Gemara is saying. Chap. Now you go back. You take all 65 apples. The first one got 10, the second one got 9, the third one got 8, 7, 6, 5, whatever. You take all the 65 and you recalculate. And you say each girl gets 6.5. Because you have 65 apples and you only get 10%. Each girl gets 10% of the 65 apples. But the cheshbon starts 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Take the total and redo it. So if one girl got married in 2000, the other girl got married in 2021, the other in 2022, you readjust. Hey, you got $100,000, you got $90,000, you got 80. Let's put it all in one big pile and redo it. Everybody gets $65,000. Somebody Yisrael, and the boy he gets is $350,000. Okay. You come back and you mechalek b'shava. What it's worth. Samaches Amud Beis. And beautiful, we're exactly where we need to be. The whole Amud Beis should only take us about a minute. Says the Gemara, sponsored. The sponsor takes more than the whole Amud. In honor of Yanki Bam and Moshe Horn, Baruch Hashem B'chol Yonim, and zchus being able to support them in a Torah and to finish learning shots with the Eli. I don't know what we're going to do here. Says the Gemara. What do you mean? The first girl got 10%. The second girl got 9%. The third girl got 8%. How are you going to re-evaluate everything, redo it? Says the Gemara, oh, no. If all 10 girls came, they want to make one chasana, then each one is going to get 6.5%. They get 10% total. Just ask the Gemara, that's not true. It's impossible. Why should 10 girls get 10% of all the assets together? Not 10%. They take 10% as one. They all get 10%, the same amount. 6, in our case, if there's 65% to divide between 10 girls, each girl gets 6.5%, 6.5%. Habanois, bein bagru actually nisu, ubein nisu actually bagru. There's two things that could complicate matters for a girl. If a girl becomes an old maid, in other words, she becomes 12 and a half, she's a begeres, she's super old, and she's not married nebuch, so she loses her entire nedunya. We'll see in a second. Bein bagru actually nisu, bein nisu actually bagru. Or maybe if they get married at the age of 10, before they became bagru, they no longer get support. But they don't lose their dowry, says Divrei Rebbe. Okay? And as well, they have something similar. There's a group here called Arevim. It's usually for Avrechem, every person puts in a few shekel every month. And if Rahman Islam there's a tragedy, then they give each kid like 200,000 shekel. Provided that the kid is not over 35 years old. In the Gemara, it's 12 and a half, and nowadays it's 35. You have to be Shomer Torah mitzvahs, etc. Okay. It's an interesting concept. Fine. Divrei Rebbe. Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer, af ibdu parnasasan. So now, if you look at this, so what we have right now in the sugya, it gets a little interesting. We have two machlokes in white and in black. According to Rebbe, a begeres has an adunya. According to Reb Shimon ben Elazar, a begeres does not get an adunya no matter what. But there's another machlokes here. Whether the naira, not a begeres, a 12-year-old, does she have the ability to forgive and say, okay, I'm moichel my adunya? According to Rebbe, she doesn't have that right, so she can go back and collect. That's what the Gemara understands now, that the little part in the black is also machlokes. Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer, af ibdu parnasasan, and Rashi explains, af ibdu parnasasan v'chein nisis benara. Says Rashi, we're talking about another case. She got married when she's a naira, hoyle gdoili even isratzes, and she agreed to it. Ibdu parnasasan, she lost it. Another machlokes. Now this is a shocker of all shockers. You don't want to leave now. If a girl doesn't want to lose her dowry and she's not married, she's about to lose it. 12 and a half, old maid, you lose your dowry. She wants her dowry, it's $1 million. She finds a fake husband. Like somebody getting a green card in the United States. You look online, you want to get married for 2 days, you're my husband, shalom aleichem, you pay. Over here it's for 1 hour. Be my husband. That's how the Masifta learns it. I couldn't believe it. I looked at the Masifta, that's how he learned. But the art scroll learns a little different. He sticks in like to be politically correct, so that's what he likes to do. You increase what you're willing to give your husband, so more people will jump on her and want to marry her. Okay, fine. But that's not what it says in Rashi. In the Gemara, you hire a husband, because once you get your dowry, you get a divorce. So you get married for 3 days, you make sure the brothers pay you up, you're paid. Okay, adios. Here's your cut. I'll see you later. Omer of Nachman, Omer lihuna, hilchasik Rebbe. The halacha is like Rebbe. Here, like you see on this chart, there is an adunya for begeres, and now we're saying that there's no mechila for an ira. Eisi Rav Rav Nachman. It says in our Mishnah, we just learned, if the mother married off her young girl, because they ripped her off, they didn't give her a full dowry. We're talking about a Ketana, she's 10 years old. That girl could come back and sue for the rest. But that's because she's a Ketana. At the end of the day, you see from our Mishnah that a Gdoila does have the right to be mevater, like Reb Shimon ben Elazar says in the bottom, yesh mechila naira, there is a mechila. Says Gemara like Kashya. So now the Gemara goes back and says this. It's a little interesting. I want pointing it out. It's kedai to see this. There's only one machlokes now. One machlokes. Forget about the mechila and mechila. Even Rebbe agrees there is a mechila. And you have to come out to mechila. You have to. There's only one machlokes. Ha the mechai, ha the mechai. Even in Rebbe, if she made a machan, she says, I want my nedunya, she's going to get it in nedunya. But if she was quiet, then she loses it all. And that it makes sense. Otherwise, there'll be a contradiction. The sign Rebbe Omer, if she's being supported by the brother, she gets 10%. In other words, what's an nizonis? That she's a ktana or a naira. Nizonis lie. But if she's a begeres, she doesn't take support, not. Should we stop here, unfortunately? Yes, we have to stop here. It's too late. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.